Shanti. Welcome to our Thursday evening conversations. Hello, Zoomers. How are you? My name is Michelle, and I am the co-MC on Thursday evenings. I'm not going to be necessarily speaking, but I wanted to introduce myself to you. How many of you, I know some of you come fairly regularly, and welcome back. Delightful to see you. But is there anyone new who's not been here before? Oh, welcome. Lovely. Excellent. Hopefully you'll return. I'm very happy to see you. We're very happy to see you. So tonight, well, first of all, Happy New Year. It's important to say, right? We look at New Year as a new beginning, so to speak. So tonight, the discussion, well, actually the whole month, because for the new year, a new way forward. New year, new way of looking at things. So I was thinking of that new way forward, and the words content me tonight. The topic is contentment, courage, cooperation. C's, letter C in English. And it's like a sea change, but not with the letter C, but how do we navigate those seas of life? I don't know if you know me. I came from the city today. I work in this Manhattan. And again, I come in, forgive me for saying like a bat out of hell. But when I come in here, everything changes. I get back to where I want to be, which is able to be calm, collected, another C word, and quiet. Not a C word, but sounds like a C word. So the topic which got to me was, because it's a new year, 2025 is forecast to be an interesting year. I love that. That caught me. Interesting. What do you think interesting means? Is it good? Well, the term comes from, it's actually an expression that was first used right around the time, right before World War II. It was a British expression. May you live in interesting times. And it came from something, a translation of Chinese. Apparently, it was used when you didn't like someone, and it meant that those interesting times meant that it may be times of trouble. So we're facing a new year of uncertainty, a lot going on, but how do we maintain our equanimity in these times? And I know for myself, the courage, cooperation is very important. But, and this is just speaking for myself, that contentment has always been evasive. And tonight, our wonderful speaker, Brother Erik, said, let's try them out tonight. So I'm here for the, well, for everything, but really for that contentment piece. And the root of contentment, and I looked this up, it comes from the Latin contentus, contentus, held together, used for cups and baskets and buckets, holding yourself, holding it together. So can we hold ourselves together in interesting times? That's the challenge for us. That there are so many possibilities, and oftentimes, I know for me, things happen that are not expected, things happen that I don't necessarily want. Can I remain content with that? So as Brother Erik told us, let's try it out tonight. What do you say? Let's try it out tonight. See if we could do contentment, courage, cooperation. We are very fortunate. We have Brother Erik tonight, and Brother Erik comes, he's quite a special speaker. He's a practitioner of Raja Yoga meditation for well over 40 years, and a very, you will learn, experienced instructor and retreat facilitator. He is the Brahma Kumaris representative to the UN, which is, we are part of an NGO of the UN, the Brahma Kumaris, and is on the board of directors of the Long Island Multi-Faith Forum, which is also, I think, extra special in the month of January as we celebrate Martin Luther King's birthday coming up. And before his retirement, he was a civil engineer in property loss management. And I know we're going to have a very interesting, in a very good way, discussions tonight and no trouble, right, Brother Eric? Okay. Thank you.
Om Shanti, good evening. Courage, you have it. You made it. You are here. We often have a little larger group, and I think the weather is sometimes a challenge. So congratulations on being here and using your courage to show up. Thank you very much. Without you, we just kind of talk to an empty room. We've done that before too, and now we have some others who like to listen from afar. But Happy New Year. Thank you, Michelle, for the introduction. And thank you very much all for coming tonight, because I'm hoping that there will be something that will be said that will strike you and somehow bring benefit. That's our purpose. So the theme is contentment, courage, which you all already have, and cooperation. And wanted to kind of set this up, share a couple things that are going on. One you don't know, and I'm going to tell you, and the other you probably have heard about already. But this is Global Harmony House. That's the name of the facility. And it's the national regional office of the Brahma Kumaris World Spiritual University organization here. And it was built as a Christian Scientist church. 1929, I think, is the plaque. It says that date. And whether you understand it or not, it takes maintenance. Everything needs care. Not a big deal, right? Car, shoes, home. And there's just a lot that is necessary to take care of anything. And this is a big thing. And we've been trying to take care of it and look after things. And so we're in the midst of a project, kind of putting in some extra electricity power, emergency generator. And in that process, it's not it's not like you just pick it up and put it there and put it in your pocket or anything. In order to give a lot of power, it's a big thing. And it's a big thing. And so the town of Thomaston, the village, wants to know about these things. What are you going to do? Where are you going to put it? How's it going to be done? This and that. And then because it's going to be operating when there's no power, it needs a fuel source. So it's going to be gas. And then it's going to have the ability to make electricity. And so you have to make all that happen. You have to connect the gas to the gas. You have to put in the transfer switch for the electricity. You have to work with the contractor. You have to work with the plumbers for the gas. You have to work with the electricians. You have to work with the guys who are actually digging trenches. And everybody's got a life. Everybody's got a schedule. And you kind of have to work with that. And last week we had, was it last week? I think it was last week or so. All set, almost done, have an inspection, village is going to come. Plumber called in sick. He couldn't make it, couldn't do the test, couldn't do this, had to postpone it, which means that a potential trip I was supposed to make, I couldn't commit to that. So had to let people know that it wasn't going to come. And there was just a lot of downstream consequences. That's kind of the point, that everything that we do has a consequence and affects many people. And there are many things that are taking place in the world that we have no control over that affect us. And you probably have your own situations where you do something and people are affected, or things just change in your life and you have no control over that. And you kind of want to offer that as the beginning. It's New Year 2025, interesting times. And I have heard that that is a curse. May you live in interesting times. It is not a blessing, it is a curse. May there be upheaval. May there be things, because, it's kind of nice to have things the way you like them. But one of the things that takes place now, and you have experience in this, is you're not in control of anything. You might think that it's working along, but it can change at any minute, at any time. And so having that awareness is what I wanted to establish. There are events that we're involved with. There are events that we're not involved with that affect us. And so question for that is, well, how do we deal with it? And there are lots of terrible things taking place, and terrible is a relative term. But the one that's grabbing all the headlines is California fires. Okay. Have you been watching that or hearing any of that? Incredible. If you have some extra time and don't know what to do with it and you're finished your meditation, you can type in Hollywood celebrities' homes destroyed. And you will see a huge long list of mansions that are gone in the hills. It's quite amazing just how many people you know or have seen or are aware of who are homeless. It's hard to think that, someone who's a multimillionaire is now homeless. Probably are able to sort things out, and that's the event. That's changing. No one controls that. But I look at it in another way for tonight. My background was in property insurance. And I was an engineer to kind of evaluate what the risks would be and give those kind of perspectives to the underwriters, and they would come up with cost. We worked together. There are many companies in California who aren't going to make it through this year financially, insurance companies. And the ones that do survive are probably not going to write that insurance. It's happening in Florida for flood. It's happening in Midwest for strong winds. It's happening. I was in the insurance and understand these things. And so it's going to be very hard for many of those people to rebuild. Because if you are going to build a 1 million, 5 million, 7 million mansion, you probably aren't going to pay cash. Maybe they just made a movie. And if you are trying to build something and get a loan, they're going to want insurance. And if you can't get insurance, you can't build it. And so there's going to be a lot of different scenarios in people's lives that they're not even aware of what's going to happen. There are consequences, and there's downstream consequences. If I was great, I would know the exact quotation, but there's something that you might have heard and you can help me with, that a butterfly flaps its wings in Japan and there's an earthquake in California, something like that. Have you heard that there's this relationship of things in the world? The butterfly effect, that's right. So it's real. Something happens and a lot of other things happen. And so we're not really in control. And do we want to therefore expect things outside of us to be a certain way for us to be happy or peaceful? And that's a question I want you to think about. Does the world have to conform to my picture of what I think is right in order for me to be a certain way? And if it doesn't happen that way, or if it doesn't work that way, does that mean I have given up sold, lost what I might find as valuable. And I'm hoping that you would agree with me that what is valuable is peace, love, happiness. Is that okay? That's kind of why we come together. That's an underlying theme of our meditation, our conversations, our kind of working together to figure these things out. But those are things that we find desirable, we want in our life. And we have many different ways of trying to figure that out. But one is to recognize that that's available to us all the time. And so knowing that the world, the year is going to be interesting, things are going to happen, it's not going to work exactly the way we would like to, can we still be content? And content is a recognition of something happening, but still having the power to hold on to a state of being. Okay. I can be content, whatever's happening. That's a practice skill. That is a power. And one of the connections that I find that comes for contentment is when we're able to adjust. And if you've had any of the Brahma Kumaris lessons, there's 8 powers, and one of them is the power to adjust. You know, like a river. It kind of meanders and goes, and it doesn't stop, but it doesn't go in a straight line. And my experience with the contractors didn't go in a straight line. Okay. I wanted this day, I wanted this day. It's been over 2 years. It's like, come on. Uh, it's not straight at all. It's, if you've ever seen the picture of the Mississippi down by the state of Mississippi, have you ever seen the map? And it just meanders the whole way through. It's not straight. It takes time. You can't see where you're going. You don't know what's next. But is that a reason to be unhappy? Is that a reason to let go of the spiritual qualities, peace, love, happiness, that we're striving for? I'm going to offer that it is not. That when we practice understanding and when we hold on to a way of seeing and being, we're going to deal with it without a lot of waste, a lot of time and energy and upset and anger. Why do they do this? How come they do this? Do you know anybody who has the ability to see something and be able to talk about it for hours in a uplifting way? How come you did that? Why did you do that? Shouldn't have done that. That's not how it's supposed to be. I didn't want that. You shouldn't have done that. You ever met any? Maybe you're like that. Have you known anybody who can do that? It's very tiring. To me, it's tiring. And that's a pattern that if you have it, I hope you can change it. If you know it, I hope you can withstand it. And if it is something that you can recognize, that somehow you might be able to help and change it. But staying content is something I think we first need to do in all situations this year. Somehow practice that, somehow get those qualities and that power. And at the same time, when there is something that's going on, welcome, want to have that awareness that we can be content, but we need to be courageous. And in that sense, to have the ability and the courage to face, and that's another power. It's the power to recognize what's going on, understanding what the situation is, deal with it, and still be stable. Be stable in the awareness that this is happening. This is something that is in front of me now. It's a scene. All scenes come and go. And at the same time, let me hold on to what's important and let me act in the way that's necessary and beneficial for that. Because it takes a lot of courage to do something. You all came tonight. It was cold outside, dark. What's going to happen? And so you said somewhere inside you invoked an energy to say, let me do it. Well, maybe it wasn't that hard. Maybe your car's in a heated garage and all these things, whatever it is. Maybe you walked, maybe you came 100 miles. I don't know. But to make a decision to do something is an act of courage. Because it's very easy to say, I don't know. I have my own issues with not using courage, and sometimes um, I should go and I should do this, but I don't want to do that. I'd rather stay inside. Doing something takes courage and act. And it's a sense that if I don't do something, nothing's going to change. I'm going to be stuck with this feeling. And so having an act means doing something with ourselves, but it also is the ability to change our thought. I'm seeing something. California is a good example. I'm seeing this. Do I want to take sorrow from that? There's a lot of sorrow there, a lot of issues, a lot of disrupted lives. Or is there something I can do? Let me think of something else. Let me think of who I am and how I might be able to send for us good wishes. Let me hold on to an elevated state of being and act, courage, do something different that would be helpful. Now, I can't fix the buildings. I can't stop the fire. I can recognize that there's sorrow there. So what could I actually do? We call it Sakash, Saakash. It's kind of the thought that gives benefits, high vibrations, which allows others to experience that and do the things that are necessary for them. We help each other by holding each other up in our vision. And that's an act. And that takes courage to change, to do something different and not get stuck. And when we have that act, when we act with that and face that and have those powers, then we can work together. And that's what's necessary for this coming year, I believe, is to hold on to a state of being, practice having those spiritual qualities and being able to act with those in any situation, not leave them behind, but grow with them, have those be a part of what is necessary. Act with contentment, act with peace. Think of that, have that awareness, have those thoughts. And when I do that and you do that, there's great power. And one of the other powers is power of cooperation. That when we all come together and we have an elevated thought, there's a vibration that comes from that. There's an energy that we share, and it kind of doesn't add, but it multiplies. It gets bigger and more powerful. And then we can feel that, and then we transform ourselves. We transform the environment, we transform the atmosphere, and want you to hold on to that awareness that you are powerful, that you have the ability to see yourself as peaceful, as loving, that that's your nature. And when you have that courage to change that thought, and we all do that, that power of cooperation, things manifest, things change. We feel that, and somehow we get the energy, the clarity, the insights on what we should do next. That's going to be a year of coming for change, for interesting times, or who knows what. But it will not be a straight line, and I guarantee you things will happen this year. Don't know what. Be ready for all sorts of things, and be ready for good things. Are you ready for good things to happen in your life? Okay, if you have that awareness and have that and start seeing it, there's going to be a lot of great things taking place. There's going to be a transitional time, I believe. And so if we're seeing that and aware for that, that will come. So these powers, these qualities, contentment, courage, cooperation, how do we get those? How do I start that or continue with that? The example that I want to share that I hope makes sense is the sun. Okay, it's kind of been hiding and it's been a little weak in certain aspects the last couple of days. But you're all familiar with the sun. And tomorrow, if it comes out and you see it, I want you to go outside and stand there. You don't have to stare at it, but just be there. And you'll probably know from that experience and past experience that a couple of different things are happening. One, when the sun's out, what's the difference when the sun's out and when it's not? It's warmer. Okay. So the sun sends out an energy of heat. What else? What's the difference when the sun's out and when the sun's not? What happens to your car when you go out tonight? What are you going to do? Maybe it comes on automatically. You're going to turn on I hope, you're going to turn on your lights. Does that make sense? So can you see better during the day when the sun is out? So it sends an energy of light also. Okay. So there's heat energy, there's light energy. And I'm not a doctor or a practitioner. I have no vitamins to sell, but I have been told that it is healthy when we're out in the sun because we get vitamin D. Is that right? And because we don't get out that much, they put it in milk and fortify things sometimes. We need vitamin D, but it comes free from the sun. And so for this example, there's heat energy, there's light energy, there's vitamin energy, there's probably all sorts of different vibrations and energies, correct? Yes. Yeah.
That's another way of cost.
Okay, we can get it. All right. So if you have some mushrooms at home, turn them up and you will get extra vitamin D and good things will happen. So a variety of different energies come from a source. And I want you to think about that's how we get spiritual power. We don't have to focus so much on anything. We don't have to think I need the power to face, or I need the power of cooperation, or I need this, or I need that. We just kind of have to go into a place that energy comes to us. That's what we call our meditation, Raja Yoga meditation. Raja, Maharaja, ruler, king, highest. What's the best thought I could have? What am I thinking about? What do I connect to? Do I think of sorrow? Do I think of anger? Do I think of those things? I'm pulling that into myself. But here we try to practice what we think and focus on who we are and how we connect with that. And we often talk, and I hope this is a refresher for some of the things that you've heard, but spiritual beings, we are the souls in the body. And there's a variety of souls, and there's a supreme soul, God. And so if we think of God, that supreme soul, like the sun, automatically that power comes into us. We get contentment, we get courage, we get cooperation, we get a lot more than just vitamin D. When we hold that thought of who we are and who's there for us, it works like magic because it is the nature of ourself having that thought and having that awareness, having that power, and being able to use that power then for ourselves in our activities. We'll be able to deal with upset. We'll be able to understand what's going on. We'll be able to hold on to our contentment. We'll be able to work with others who might be different, cooperate when we practice our meditation. It's the way to empower ourselves. It's what's necessary for us to experience who we are, what our qualities are, be content with that, And whatever else is going to happen is going to be okay. We're going to find a way. Are you okay to find a way? Does that sound possible? Because we had a wonderful senior teacher, very wise, very experienced, and knew what we should do, but knew also what we had to deal with, and brought to our attention some of the issues that were challenges. This was Dadi Janki, and I don't know if that names mean anything. She was here. She's passed away a couple years ago. But she said this is the evening of C's. We had contentment and courage and cooperation, but she said there were three words, C's, qualities that caused us problems: complaints, criticism, comparison. And if that's your practice and that's your attitude and that's your behavior, you are just asking for sorrow, because it's a mindset. When we start to complain, and I kind of thought about these things and, read what she was saying and such, but when we complain, we're focusing on what's wrong. Okay. The soup isn't hot. This isn't right. The temperature's not so good. We're focusing on something. And it might be true. The soup might not be hot, but noticing something and recognizing the reality of it and taking that into a negative space isn't helpful for us, the soul. And so it's something that people practice. Do you know anybody who's good at complaining? Possibly. They have a way. And that's a mindset. That's a way of seeing the world, which is different than seeing what is right. Because whatever you practice, you're going to get good at and will happen. If you look for what is nice, and you're going to see that. If you're looking for what's wrong, you're going to find that. Complaining doesn't help, doesn't elevate, doesn't bring a good energy. Complaint is usually for an event or a situation or a thing. When you criticize, okay, that can be broad-based. Okay, the United States is a mess. Okay, that's different. Complain is often about an event. Criticize can be much broader. It's often about people. Why did she do it that way? How come she said it that way? I told her not to do that. When we criticize, it's still a mindset of our thinking. And where do we go? What is the issue that's happening? Can we see in our own thinking, listen to our own words, what I have inside of me? What's going on with myself? And catch ourselves, check. That's a big part of our meditation. What am I thinking? How am I seeing? What is that creating for myself? What is the feeling? Because if you were always critical, there's a harshness. Okay. Have you ever been around someone who always has something to say about you? Why do you sit that way? Why are you talking this way? What kind is this? What told you that? It takes energy. It takes it away from you. It's hard. And so being critical is a mindset that Dada Janki would have offered is not beneficial for the self or for relationships or for the atmosphere. And the third C that sometimes we get caught up with is comparison. When you start to compare, how come they have this car? How come they have those shoes? How come this? Why don't I? Okay. It's easy to see differences. But when we start to compare, we've lost our self-respect. We've lost an awareness of what our qualities are. And we all have good qualities. We all have the capacity to access peace and love and happiness. It's our nature. And so when we start to compare, all of a sudden we're not seeing what we've got, we're seeing what we don't have. And that's a deficit way of looking at things. And if we start to hold that thought and practice that awareness, pretty soon we don't value anything. And we're always going to be in a place of wanting, as opposed to what I'm hoping we'll practice is a place of fulfillment. There's a big difference between when you compare with somebody else and when you are content with yourself. And so for 2025, it's going to be a year of practicing contentment. It is going to be a year, this is my vision for you, and it might not be straight lines. It might be a sense of how do I act, think, change, move forward with courage to do what is beneficial for me at this moment. We're all going to be in unique situations. We're all going to have a different situation to focus on. So there's no right or wrong. You know what's right or wrong. And you have the courage to follow your spiritual guide. And if you are doing that, there will be others, and there will be cooperation and change and transformation, positive transformation. There will be those who take sorrow and they will need help. Are you going to be strong, powerful, to be able to recognize it, but not get pulled by it? There's a request for that in the world these days, for those to help. What I'd like to do, if that's okay, is maybe practice a little of being in the sunshine. And in that aspect, when we go in the sunshine, we get the power of heat, power of light, power of vitamins, power of many things. But that's the analogy. So let's see if we can just collect our thoughts, bring ourselves into an awareness, take a deep breath, and have that awareness that I'm going to have the thoughts of myself as a spiritual being. And I use this body in action, but I'm going to focus on my thoughts. What am I thinking now? Take another deep breath and have that awareness that I choose to recognize that I'm comfortable, that I'm calm, and there's an inner peace that is making itself available. And I feel that peace. And I have that power. And I just experience that quietly now. I am at peace. I have a thought of peace. And I am content. And I recognize that in my life there were things that are taking place. And I know to act with this peace, this clarity, is what's next for me. And I will have the ability to choose the thought that I want. And I will access my power of courage. And I think of the other souls sharing that thought at the same time here. The vibration of peace grows, multiplies as we cooperate in that awareness, how to empower ourselves. And I recognize that this action, this thought, is being respected, appreciated. And so that ultimate source of peace and love, the Supreme Soul, provides that energy to us all now. I, the soul, experience great power in that eternal source of power. Feel the power to adjust, experience the power to face. And I recognize how great it is to be able to cooperate. "2025 will be an interesting year. It's going to take spiritual power for us to move through it well and helpful, to be beneficial. So we end with meditation, but I thought we would do that. And now see if there might be some thoughts or comments from those here, those online. Contentment, courage, cooperation. What's your experience and what are your thoughts about that? Anyone?
I think everyone's good.
Do those qualities seem to be in line with what you feel might be necessary to have as you go through whatever your stories, circumstances are going to be? Because I know being content made some of the situations I'm in a lot more pleasant to get through than getting angry, getting upset, getting depressed. None of those seem to ever work for me. I don't feel good. They don't help the situation. And so contentment with whatever's going on. Think about that. But not to be not caring, to do something about it too. What can I do at this time? I have a practice. Had to do it yesterday, a number of times. Call 800 numbers or whatever they are for help. We'll be right with you. Your call's very important. Please hold on. Your call's very important. Please hold on. On and on and on. Yes, okay. And then someone comes on, and one didn't introduce himself, but typically they do. "Hi, this is Mary, and I'm here to help you." I try to remember their name because I find that when I'm talking to a person, "Hi, Mary, how are you?" "Thank you, Mary." Whatever it's going to be, it activates a relationship rather than this is someone who I'm angry with and I don't even know, and I've got a big problem. They're my partner. They're the ones who I'm going to work with and cooperate with to fix something. And so if I find if I have that attitude, the conversation goes better than if I'm upset with them and I start shouting. I'm not a big shouter. But that contrast of, hi, you're my friend, you're my help, this is who you are, how's it going? This is the situation, I'm sure you can help me. They respond to that. There's a different energy that's been activated in them. They don't try to sabotage, they don't try to do whatever. And this doesn't, work all the time for everybody. But it makes me feel much better for sure. And if I feel better and if I have that energy, I know that there's an influence in that. And so that ability to be content, but not stop doing what's necessary. Oh, the flight was canceled. No, I'm content. No, okay, it's like, right, I can still work with that, but I need to have the courage. Pick up the phone, talk to them, do what's necessary to fix the situation. Those are all qualities that I think that we're going to need. What do you think? Anyone want to try it again? We have someone in front.
Oh, Shanti. J-O-B, our real job. We've known it ever since we were toddlers. Our real job is joy of being.
Joy of being, J-O-B. All right, so we should have joy all the time and see joy. Practice that. Great, thanks. Very good. Okay, anyone else? Yes. Is that a hand? Oh, I thought I saw motion. It's okay. You just sat for an hour hearing someone say that you should be content and have courage. Very good. And so this is a great chance for someone to say, I have some courage. I have a thought or a comment or a feeling that I would like to share, because I'll tell you what, when you go out the door, you're not going to have a chance to be heard. Not by all of us. And your act of courage is going to bring great energy and great enthusiasm and great respect. And it's going to just be a glorious moment when you act that way. So who's going to be courageous? We have a hand? We have a hand. No, I'm just fixing my scarf.
Thank you. Yeah, normally for the act of courage, cooperation, I remind myself and even my daughter, be this powerhouse, self-generating power. If you feel, remind yourself you are a self-generating powerhouse always, and keep pushing yourself higher,
Good.
up, higher,
Okay.
don't depend on somebody.
And how does
to
that
give
work
you
out?
It works very well.
Good.
Keep reminding yourself, I
Yeah.
have the power, I can pull it through. And
Super.
I will.
Very nice.
Having
Okay.
that courage every day.
Remind yourself. Yeah, it is.
Every
courage.
day, every moment.
And it gets easier once you start doing something, every time, a little more, something else. And then courage is just automatic.
My daughter goes to college, so I keep reminding her, oh,
Okay,
you're strong.
you can do it.
You will do that.
That's right. One day at a time.
Yeah, every human does that. So have the courage.
Very
That's my
good.
comment. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I wanted to speak a moment about courage. I had something today. At my work, the courage to recognize that I had to change my response, because I'm in a supervisory role, and two of my subordinates, although I don't look at them as subordinates, I kind of try to invoke a team, but I was a little disappointed. They were left with the task, and from on high, my supervisor said they didn't do the task. So I can do what I will, and I'm not a yeller, but I could yell and I thought that courage, the real courage, was to think and process, and I did ask for help. what is really the role here? And I really want them to succeed, and they're not getting it, you have to do the work. The supervisor tells you to do something, do it. But I did it with a good, loving intention. And the response, I think they knew I was firm, but courageous to be firm, but kind. And the response came back. They started working on it like in seconds. They called me because they were remote. I was in the office. They got it because of my intention. So that courage to recognize, I really felt that because I was nervous
Yeah.
to be that firm, but yet that conviction. So I think that ties in too.
Yes. Great.
And the response was lovely. And I think they're going to be okay. And I'm going to be okay. So it was very nice. And
Very good.
I always thank Harmony House for the education. It does help my work.
Super. Other thoughts? Someone else? Okay, sure. Short one.
Some of the BKs that I know, they're in Japan. And my sister Dora was just in Japan in October. And the energy of Daddy Yankee, they still have her picture whenever they dine. So the energy of these compassionate, courageous souls are still at our beckoning. As soon as we manage our attention, connect the Sakash, we're not alone. It's a fallacy to think we're alone. There are so many souls, Prakash, Ramesh, all the sisters that have left the body have really not left us at all. The moment we connect to that beautiful feeling of Sakash and collaboration. So the real seed is connecting us to those moments of sweet remembrance where we were with them, whether in Peace Village or Aduban. So if we have a dining room table, we should set a place for them because we're not alone. This is a cultural practice in Japan where I was there for the first time 44 years ago.
Interesting. Okay. I think there's another
you.
tradition that has a table setting.
Yes, Elijah?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have Elijah's going, the prophet's going to come back. Yeah.
See how that
Good
goes.
table for them.
You never know.
Yeah.
One of these days. Anyone else? Other thoughts? No courage? Working on that? Are you content? You're supposed to say yes. Okay. Let's try that one again. Now you know the answer. Are you content for tonight? All right.
I think
Very
so.
good. So
I think so. I think quiet is a good thing.
see how it goes. Well, I hope you can maintain your contentment for the week. Because next Thursday, we're going to have a little different program. The founder of the Brahma Kumaris, Brahma Baba, we're going to celebrate that on Thursday. But we're going to tie that in with also another spiritual leader, Martin Luther King. And so next Thursday, there is going to be a program, different but similar. 6:30 it'll start and it'll continue on. So hope the weather will be less cold. Hope you will still have enough courage to come and that you will enjoy the next week also. Did you have others?
Just had one more to add. Thank you, Brother Eric.
Sure.
It was lovely. I'm content. Can I keep that contentment as I go back into I call it world, this is the real world to me. When I'm here and I'm quiet, content, this is where I want to be, but I'm going out there. Can I keep it? I think so. Longer moments. So I also want to thank our Brother Narayan for audio visual. Thank you so much for coming and braving the cold. And our Zoomers, thank you as well for coming. Want to let you know that we're in the midst of a Raja Yoga Meditation Foundation, a beginner's class, but there will be another one starting on January 25th, 26th, and February. It's usually 7th. Yes. I believe it's usually 7 days, but if you're interested, we have a sign up sheet if you're interested in learning about Raja Yoga meditation and taking the foundation course. Also, there is a class on Saturday. Positive thinking, and that's here in person only. And that's Saturday at 11 o'clock. Positive thinking, which boy, we can all use that too. And that'll be entered through the bookshop. And as Brother Eric mentioned, we will meet again on next Thursday to celebrate two yogis, two connected people who were another C word, change. We're at the forefront of change, and that's Brahma, Baba, as well as Martin Luther King. So with that, please stay for your blessing and your Toli and Om Shanti. And thank you for being here. And thank you, Baba, for all that he gives us. Om Shanti. Good
Great
night.
to see you. See you next week. Thanks for coming.
And if
Stay
anyone
content.
wants to sign up for emails to get our regular notifications, please see me. I will give you your blessings and Toli as well. Thank you.